Sitting down with Dr. David Klein of the Stages of Life Institute, I would very much like you to go to suffernomore.com, suffernomore.com, and stagesoflifevitamins.com, stagesoflifevitamins.com for the nutraceutical program. Doctor, we want to talk about micronutrients. What is that?
All right, this is really what it's all about. You know, we go through life learning little lessons, and sometimes those lessons they'll yield dividends. And this one goes back to elementary school, where you might have done one of these little experiments where you would take a plant or two and you would go ahead and give one fertilizer and the other one just got regular potting soil. And you saw that the fertilizer actually made the plant grow a little bit better. And the lesson there was this, that if you give a little something extra, sometimes you get more. At least that's what the lesson was when I took my elementary school training. But the real lesson goes something like this. And that's that cells, organisms, and so on and so forth, they grow to the extent that they're able to do so. And it's external factors that limit this growth. Now, what this means is this, is that if you give an individual everything that they need in order to grow to their fullest extent, they will. You can't necessarily stimulate growth, but you sure as heck can restrict it. And micronutrients, things such as chromium, vanadium, zinc, selenium, magnesium, manganese, boron, calcium, just to name a few. Limitations of this in the diet or in our environment will cause restrictions in our ability to grow, thrive, and will cause health issues. We sometimes call these minerals micronutrients. We sometimes call the vitamins that go along with them micronutrients. What does this mean? As opposed to a macronutrient, something like a carbohydrate, a fat, okay? These things you take in large amounts. Lots and lots of carbohydrates, lots and lots of fat, lots and lots of amino acids, and to a lesser extent something called essential carbohydrates. You take lots of them. But the micronutrients, not so much. They're taken in very, very small amounts. Why? Because everything in life is either, depending upon the rate, route, and amount, is going to be a poison or a nutrient. Too much of anything or too little of anything is equally dangerous. And such as it goes with micronutrients. Too much calcium is a problem. Too much magnesium, bigger problem. Too much zinc, biggest problem. Okay, so what do? These micronutrients do something very, very special. They're called enzyme cofactors. Now, why do you care? You're not going to be tested on this. Oh, no. Life is testing you already. Not enough of the micronutrients and you get sick. Not enough vanadium, not enough chromium, you develop diabetes. Not enough zinc, not enough selenium, you develop thyroid disease. Not enough calcium, magnesium, or boron, you develop osteoporosis. And the list keeps going and going and going. Now, fun part about this is what do these micronutrients do and how do they work? Okay, because it's the how they work that fascinates me. And they operate, again, as enzyme cofactors. They fit into a certain spot in the protein structure of the vitamin. Okay, they fit into the protein structure of the structural protein. Interesting business. It pleats it. So I want you to imagine a curtain in your home. Okay, a piece of plastic or a piece of cloth hanging from a rod over a window. Okay, now what does it take to turn that sheet, a flat piece of whatever, into, let's say, a curtain as you'd recognize it? And it's called pleating. Okay, well, there are seamstresses out there that know how to do this kind of stuff. I do not. But one thing I do know is that in order to pleat a protein, it takes something like zinc in order to make those pleats happen. And they bind one piece of the fabric to another, forming what's called the secondary and tertiary structures of these proteins. And without them, the curtain unfolds. When it unfolds, it doesn't work. Another great example of how these things work is iron. Okay, iron deficiency anemia occurs because it takes one iron atom in order to bind four hemoglobin molecules together, forming hemoglobin. And that's just the way that it goes. If you're missing iron, you develop something called iron deficiency anemia. So these micronutrients are wickedly important for your general health. Vitamins are the same kind of a deal. Okay, what are they? They're enzyme cofactors. A mineral is an inorganic enzyme cofactor. The vitamin is an organic enzyme cofactor. You need both. Now, the body has 15, 20,000 chemical reactions, different chemical reactions going on simultaneously at any time during your life. There are fewer than when you die, okay? But the fact of the matter is it takes these enzymes in order for these chemical reactions to occur. So if you're short, if you're deficient, if you're impaired for these things, it causes disease states. Now, this is the fun part. Okay, and that different diseases need different profundities of depletion. What does this mean? It means that sometimes it's worse than other, depending upon how badly the body is deficient in some particular compound. So it is a different deal to have rickets as it is to end up with an immune system impairment from vitamin D deficiency. That is understood and it's expected. So where are we supposed to get these things from? Say, well, when I was in medical school, oddly enough, I was taught something that was very wrong. Not that this is a unique factoid that was wrong, but I was taught that we get every bit of our vitamins and minerals from our food. Anything else you get is going to end up in your urine. Americans have the most expensive urine out there. Well, if that's what you think right now, congratulations, your dad is about 40 years old and wrong. Right up there with, gee, we don't know how aspirin works. Well, the fact is we know how aspirin works. We've known this for years. We've also known how vitamins and minerals work, and even more so, we're starting to learn even more why we become deficient. Now, it works a little something like this for those of you that are going to try to do it yourself, and that's that as you get older, as we age, our body becomes less able to absorb these minerals and vitamins from our diet. Wouldn't you know it? So as we get older, it takes more to actually stay healthy. Now, you would think that a growing kid needs more, and the answer is no. The growing kid, dumb as they are, they're able to absorb lots and lots of stuff from their food in manners that we cannot. So as we get older, we need more. That's why, gee, you're 50 years old, you're developing osteoporosis, and your 14-year-old niece who's eating garbage is growing like a weed. They are absorbing the calcium, you are not. They are absorbing the magnesium, you are not. That is life in the fast lane. Learn to live with it. Then why is it that we have this thing called an RDA, recommended daily allowance? Well, it's fiction. That stuff was made up in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. People didn't even really know what the darn things did at that time, which is the reason why all the RDA numbers, if you look at them, are kind of amusing. They're all 100, 250, or 400. Now, that is not a coincidence. It just happens to be the nature of fiction. They like things that rhyme. Why is it that folic acid, the RDA, is 400 micrograms, in spite of the fact that it takes 5,000 micrograms of folic acid to prevent plaquing of the arteries? It's because some clown years ago decided 400 micrograms must be enough. What about vitamin E? 400 IUs. Now, which are the 6 vitamin E's? Well, wouldn't you know it, they didn't know about the 6 vitamin E's. What about vitamin D? There are 3 of them, 400 IUs. Well, it takes 5,000 IUs before you start cutting your cancer risk in half. So each of these micronutrients has wickedly important implications, and what they do is very important to you. Are you going to get these things in your diet? And the answer is not necessarily. Where do you find minerals? Oh, well, they're in the soil. Guess what? Okay, we have cropped and overcropped the fields in this country to the point where the minerals are really very, very hard to find with regards to the plant material. So here in Florida, and there are going to be people listening to us all over the place. In Florida, we have lots of palm trees. What a shock. They're right there on these postcards that you guys get. When palm trees start to turn yellow, people that live here understand that they need more magnesium. So we throw Epsom salts out there. Now, if you're a newbie, or somebody that just came down, or a snowbird, they love it. It's a word of derision as it is. Okay, then you buy the expensive stuff. The folks that live here, hey, we go to Walgreens, buy a 5-pound bag of Epsom salts and throw it on the palm trees, and they green up. Okay, you do not need to know anything more than the fact that even plants will demonstrate signs and symptoms of mineral deficiencies. Miracle-Gro is a marvelous example of this. If you want your flowers to really blossom, give them Miracle-Gro. The joke is it's a micronutrient pack that the plants need in order to do what they need to do, because it's no longer in the soil. So what are micronutrients? What are the effects of these things? They are the essence of maintaining health. What causes diabetes? Micronutrient deficiency. What is it that causes thyroid disease? Micronutrient deficiency. What is it that causes osteoporosis? Now, this is an interesting one. Well, it must be a calcium deficiency. Then why is it the calcium that you're sucking down by the jar isn't fixing the osteoporosis? It's because you missed the ball. The curveball is strontium, another mineral that you're not taking. It takes strontium, vitamin K2, and D3 in order to prevent osteoporosis. Note, I did not mention calcium, because our diets are very, very rich in calcium, but they're very, very poor in strontium.
Right, very good, doctor. Thank you so much. And if you want to know more about the doctor's credentials, hey, why not visit suffernomore.com, suffernomore.com. And if you would like to get those very nutraceuticals micronutrients that the doctor was talking about, the best way is stagesoflifevitamins.com, stagesoflifevitamins.com. And if you're down near Longwood, drop into the store and see these nutraceuticals close up and personal. That'll wrap up our discussion for today, and we will talk to the doctor again tomorrow.